afternoon and welcome to the Deerwood Realty Show. I'm John Schink, founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. I asked X, I said, what's trending in real estate, residential real estate today? And they said that the tariffs. And I said, well, we did the tariffs yesterday, so I don't want to do that again. So it said, okay, well, green buildings. I said, really? Green buildings, huh? Yeah. So we're going to talk about them. It's certainly something different. It's not something that we talk about a lot with residential real estate, but I think it's worth exploring. I'm open to ideas. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And so let's get to the article now. I pulled this out. This is from a hedge fund, I swear, out of like Singapore. This was the best article I could get for it. And it just says green real estate trends in 2025. It's from March 15th of this year. Kind of interesting. It says, by 2050, green real estate will no longer be a niche market. It's projected to dominate property development, investment, and consumer demand. Buyers, investors, and developers are prioritizing eco-conscious practices that reduce environmental impact while boosting long-term value. As climate change accelerates and global carbon reduction goals tighten, the real estate industry is undergoing a seismic shift towards sustainability. So, to me, we're already at odds with the opening paragraph. Already. We can talk about climate change. We can talk about global carbon reduction goals. We could talk about who's the largest carbon polluter in the world. But anyway, and we can also talk about, by 2050, I'm 47 now. This isn't going to be my problem. It's not going to be my problem. 25 years from now, not going to be my problem. So I just think I think this is a fascinating article because it's not based on like today. I mean, I could write anything I wanted to about 2050 and who knows if it'll happen. But it says we explore the top 5 trends shaping the future of green real estate in 2025. One thing I want you to notice off the bat is this is a world article. This is written for the world versus like United States centric. So you get a much different perspective. It says, number 1, net zero energy buildings, the gold standard for eco-conscious living. It says net zero energy buildings, structures that generate as much energy as they consume, are becoming the cornerstone of green real estate. Well, I would think that would be true. How would it not be true? It says, by 2025, advancements in solar panels, geothermal systems, and energy storage will make NZEBs more affordable and scalable. It's 2025, and she wrote the article on March 17th. So it hasn't happened yet. And this is where it gets wild, okay? So first of all, it says cost savings. Homeowners can slash utility bills by 60 to 100% through on-site renewable energy. Well, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Then it says, regulatory push, governments worldwide are mandating NZEB compliance for new constructions. But does that mean that that's a good thing? Buyer demand, 73% of home buyers prioritize energy efficiency per a 2023 National Association of Realtors report. Well, that's kind of random, out of nowhere. 73%. So I've got these two things highlighted, and I wanted to just kind of talk about those first because I am a real estate agent and I do show houses, and I just want to tell you what I see. Now, I show houses, I'm not in the upper end of the market right now. I'd say I would top out at like 350, 400,000 in St. Louis right now for my clients. So we're not talking about, in St. Louis would be like a $3 million plus home or not, or that market. I'm not in that market really. It's sad. If you do have a house in St. Louis and it is worth $3 million or more, I'd be happy to be listing it for you. Just call me. So homeowners can slash utility bills by 60 to 100% through on-site renewable energy. So as a homeowner myself, my attic insulation is inadequate, okay? Will I add more insulation to become adequate and save money on my utility bills? Yeah, I would like to. But it isn't the number one thing on my list of things to worry about today. And I've known about it for the last, 14 to 15 years. And you say, well, John, you could have saved all that money during that time. You could have done something. And it's like, I have other things I have to spend money on. And I don't think that I'm any different than anyone else. What I have noticed in my lifetime of showing homes or my career, I've noticed that older people who have disposable income are more than happy to make their house more energy efficient, more than happy to enhance the insulation, more likely to get new windows in their home. Whereas someone like myself, still what I would say middle-aged, still getting after it, it's not on the list of things that's very important to me. And when I show houses to buyers, they can't tell if the windows are new and perfect and energy efficient, and they can't tell if the insulation is inadequate walking through the house before they actually buy it. Now, there is normally a property inspection, and the inspector may say, you don't have great insulation, but you're never going to get a seller to say, oh, you know what? Let's put in new insulation in the attic for you. It's just not something that's done. And so when I read 73% of homebuyers prioritize energy efficiency per a 2023 National Association of Realtors report, that's eyebrow raising in the sense. How do you ask the question? How is the question framed? If you're saying, hey, would you like to live in an energy efficient house versus one that is not, I would think that 100% of people would want to. You're saving money, right? It's not weird. But when you start trying to understand what the definition of an energy efficient home would be, that's where it gets a little bit odd. I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about a power wall? I mean, what are we really doing here? When I show houses to my buyers, we walk through a house. They don't care anything about the insulation value of the home. They don't care anything about anything that's energy efficient. Like, you could have the best refrigerator in the world as far as energy efficiency, and if it was the wrong color and it didn't match in the kitchen, no one would care. Like, the house is still going to get sold. Maybe your buyers aren't interested, somebody else will be. So I don't see this in practice. Whenever I list a home, sometimes I'll be working with a family and they'll say, well, we had the windows done this day. We had a new insulation put in this time. We have energy efficient appliances, and they want me to put it in the listing, and I'm more than happy to. But none of that stuff sells the house. 95% of the people are interested in how does the house look as far as, is it an updated bathroom and is it an updated kitchen? And they don't care about even the furnace. Furnace is $12,000 to $15,000 to replace. They don't care. It's odd, but I'm done trying to understand it, other than to say I feel like people are it's vanity. People want something that's pretty. They could care less about the functionality of it. This is my experience with my buyers. Moving on, it says smart home technology for hyper-efficient energy management. It says smart home technology is evolving beyond voice-activated lights. By 2025, AI and IoT will optimize energy use in real time, reducing waste and carbon footprints. That's great, but I have a Nest, and that thing's annoying, the Nest thermostat. It's always like, hey, in St. Louis, it'll be 90 degrees and miserable in the summer. It always says like, hey, do you want to readjust the thermostat up so that you can live in warmth during the summer? It's like, no, I don't. But let's go over it. It says predictive energy systems. AI analyzes weather patterns and occupancy to adjust heating and cooling. Well, can't we do that now? And do we really need AI? So I'm a little bit iffy on that one. It says smart grid integration. Homes will trade excess solar energy with local grids, creating revenue streams. Revenue streams for who? The power company? You? It's like there are these credits and there are these things that you can do now, but it's a pain. It's a pain, and it's already here. It's not new. It says water conservation, IoT sensors detect leaks and automate gray water recycling. Well, I think that's great. I think that they should have that all the time. I noticed that in Israel, I read an article one time about how they managed to take a place that's basically in the desert and have an abundance of water. And one of the things that they did was just conserve the water that they have by placing sensors on all the pipes, the supply pipes, and then they know if there's a leak or something, then they get out there and fix it. They don't let it go for years and years and years. And then Stat Alert, a 2024 McKinsey study predicts smart homes will cut global household emissions by 12% in 2030. As far as McKinsey is concerned, these are the people that gave you like CNN Plus and thought that was a good idea. I'm not a big McKinsey person, so I don't really care what they say, and I don't believe anything. Most of the time, they're working in their own interest somehow. So smart homes will cut global household emissions by 2030, 12%. It's like, global? Okay. If you say so. It's again, like if I were showing a house to someone, they don't care about global household emissions. In fact, over the years, I've shown houses and like there was one time when you could have like a stereo in your wall. People look at that as kind of a joke now. It'd be the same thing as somebody seeing a phone on the wall, a corded phone. They'd be like, "What is this silliness?" And that's what's going to happen with all the stuff we have now. It just evolves, and it's a design thing, not a function thing. It says, number 3, sustainable and recycled building materials beyond bamboo. It says the construction sector accounts for 38% of global CO2 emissions. In response, developers are adopting cutting-edge materials that minimize environmental harm. Well, that sounds nice. It says hempcrete. They've created hempcrete, a carbon-negative alternative to concrete made from hemp and lime. 3D printed homes reduce waste by 30% using recycled plastics or local soil. Have you seen the current 3D home stock of printed homes? I'm not impressed. I want to believe that there's going to be this giant printer and it just rolls down the street and prints house after house after house. And that house is going to look nice. It's going to cost less than a traditionally constructed home, because why would we pay more for it? I mean, what's the point there? So I hope it happens. I hope they look nice, but you know, I've seen some of the developments so far, and I'm not that impressed, honestly. And then mycelium insulation, it says fungi-based material that's fire resistant and compostable. Now, I like that idea, but can you imagine? I actually pulled something because I've never even heard of it. It says fungus-based insulation panels sound like an interesting project, especially because the material is renewable. What are the pros and cons of this building option to ensure balanced understanding of its strength and reason? The pros: mycelium insulation could be the leader in sustainable insulation. It is a renewable resource that is biodegradable and compostable, meaning it promotes a circular economy. It's also carbon negative and non-toxic. So here's my thing. So now I'm putting insulation in my house that's mold. I don't know if you've seen a house that's filled with mold. It's not a good thing. And you say, well, this is a different kind of mold. Okay. It's compostable. I don't really want insulation that gets composted. I just want it to stay within my walls and just keep insulating. It says other facets that make mycelium ideal for insulation are its flame retardant qualities. Mycelium is naturally resistant to flames. It will not melt or ignite like other insulation materials are prone to do. Well, that's nice. But to get me to switch from a regular traditional insulation to that is going to be very, very expensive for me, because I'm going to have to tear out the drywall in my house just to put it in. And I think that's one of the things where we have to pay attention in this article. We have to assume that they're talking about new construction. These techniques aren't going to be used in, residential construction that we have now. It says, finally, mushrooms and other fungi grow exceptionally fast. Maybe fungi. I don't know. They're cheap to produce, making it a cost-effective option for industries and homeowners alike. The material can grow in countless conditions, making it agreeable and versatile in numerous environments. Operations can meld with existing infrastructure, reducing upfront costs and long-term production expenses. Well, again, we're putting, mushrooms and fungi in my walls that's compostable and fireproof. It seems like that's not where I'm at. It says cons: most prominent deterrent to mycelium insulation is load-bearing capacity, which is also odd. Early in the article, they talk about you can make bricks out of it. It says it is lightweight, making it easy to work with. Plus, it doesn't place many burdens on the home. However, it is not capable of carrying as much weight as other thicker insulation or cladding. So, I mean, if you just look at my insulation, we've got the standard fiberglass insulation. We're not using it for structure. Despite fungi, we're going with that because it's fun. Fungi is not exciting. Integrability with manufacturing operations, this doesn't necessarily imply it's plug and play. Production lines will need to find streamlined ways of pasteurizing and sterilizing the mycelium to make it long-lasting. Some businesses may not want to bother with this aspect of it, hereby dismissing the potential for mycelium altogether. It's not a market competitive product, as it's a still relatively new idea in the insulation world. Most consumers default to the market mainstays. It may be a while before mycelium becomes a top contender for buyers, much less a household name. So we go back to the article. I don't think we're going to see this anytime soon. Then it goes into green certifications and ESG compliance. I mean, you know that at this point we know that ESG in the United States is not something that people want to talk about. Well, unless you're getting paid, then you're fine with it. Urban green spaces and biophilic design wellness meets sustainability. I don't even know what that means. It says as cities grow denser, which is odd because aren't cities pretty dense as they are? That's why they're called cities. Integrating nature into urban living is critical. Biophilic design, architecture that connects occupants with nature, is linked to improved mental health and productivity. Well, who would complain about that? But who would believe that? Vertical forests, high rises like Milan's Bosco Verticali incorporate thousands of plants to filter air and reduce heat. I said, okay, let me get on the Google machine and see what that looks like. Well, it's that building right there. It looks a little silly. It looks like they need to, like, I don't know, weed it. Oh, look, there's two. I mean, people are thrilled about this. I mean, I don't mind it from a design perspective. Like, I don't mind different textures in the design. But as far as saying, well, this is the gold standard and this is what we should be building, we should be building buildings that look like moss is covering them. That's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. So, I mean, there you go. Look at all that garbage you can have and it's just like, oh, great. And then, like, what happens when a tree dies? Like, how does that work? And I think that's the last picture. So there you are. You're sitting there in this wonderful green space, 60 stories up, right? So now I showed you that. It says rooftop farms, those aren't unusual. Park-like amenities, developments now feature communal gardens, green rooftops, and indoor atriums. They've had indoor atriums at hotels for 50, 60 years. It's not new. It says the future of real estate is undeniably green. Well, I'm going to say that it's deniable. From net zero energy homes to biophilic skyscrapers, these trends are not just eco-friendly, they're economically savvy. Investors and homeowners who embrace these innovations in 2025 will enjoy lower costs, higher property values, and a tangible role in combating climate change. Do we have any source for any of this? Okay, let me tell you a few things that I know just based on my time on Earth. One, when you look at investment property, when you want to buy a piece of investment property, you want to buy something that's producing some sort of cash flow. And the most of the cash flow, the better. You'd also like fewer expenses if possible. So if you had a choice between buying two buildings, one building was 95% occupied and not green, and the other building is 50% occupied and green, you're just going to go ahead and go for the 90% occupied building. If you look at apartment buildings, if you look at, let's just look at the apartment space. Like, those things are trading, and it isn't got anything to do with their environmental, stuff. It has everything to do with what's the occupancy level, what's the age of the property in relation to other properties near it, how much rent can we get, and what's the debt service. It's that simple. Green doesn't make any difference. Now, if you use green like most people do, it's a way to market your project because people are like, oh, it's green. But that's the first time And there's tax credits and things like that. But that's the first time it's built. When it turns hands as an investment, no one cares. No one cares. And so for homeowners to embrace these innovations, well, what is the typical, I mean, in St. Louis, let's just say the average age of a home is like, I don't know, 75 years old. Like, people aren't going to be rushing to change any of that stuff. And if you're thinking that you're going to get a huge windfall for having that stuff in your home when you sell it, it's probably not going to happen. No one sits there and says, oh, you've got more attic insulation than someone else, I'm buying your home. It's much more like, oh, I like the way the kitchen looks. Oh, the bathrooms are nice. And it's even as far as like, oh, you can save money because it's a zero, you don't need to use utilities as much. Okay. I really don't like this house versus the other one down the street. And so that's where we're at. What in the world, what do you think? I'm not against green innovation, okay? I'm not. I think it's fantastic. But at the same time, there's got to be kind of a balance. And it seems like with this, it's just cheerleading and kind of in the sky stuff. It's not really, especially for residential real estate, none of that stuff makes a difference when you're going to buy or sell a house. Unless you've got someone that's really, really, I mean, of the population, maybe 1 or 2%. I'd be interested to know what you think. Put a comment in the comment section below. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.